Why is it harder to photograph landscapes in the winter? Because I clearly felt like so. But after thinking about it, I realized some things that I'm gonna share with you in this video. So stay tuned. If you are new here, my name is Bogdaka Buchmüller, and I share my story of creativity in progress on this channel, which of course includes my photography journey. It would be so nice to have a creative community here. So, if you are also someone with creative aspirations, please subscribe. Now, let's jump into today's topic, the photos I captured in the Tatras in February and August, and why these photo sessions were such different experiences. If you were already following along these last months, you have probably heard how enchanting the Tatras are for me. Though I love the coziness of my home, I do feel very excited when I get an opportunity to travel, because that means that I can exercise my landscape photography. And I was thrilled to go to the Tatras again this winter, just about half a year's time after I visited them last. But I was a little worried as well. What would be the landscape look like in the winter? So the weather forecast wasn't that promising in some respects. Cloudy, foggy weather for all the days I was staying there. That meant that I wouldn't have a clear sky, sunlight, or sunset colors. I was also worried because of the fog and haze. When I was there in the summer, I was hiking around midday, and oh, yes, many photos of mine turned out hazy. To be honest, I wasn't pleased with many of them. However, I must confess, I shot my favorite photograph of all time by hiking there. This time, I wanted to do it better. If there's fog, I must make my photographs misty and whimsical, but that was quite the job. I also wanted to work on my compositions and do more minimalistic compositions, but although it was winter and cold, there were many other hikers alongside us. So it was another thing to consider, how to shot clean looking photos when you are surrounded by a multitude of people. Okay, I should not complain. I realize that though the winter landscape is different, it is still breathtaking and gives a unique opportunity to capture it. And when the clouds covered just a part of the peaks in front of us, that was amazing with capitals. And behind us, the forest had that kind of misty, teal colored look. It was so cinematic. I was in awe. It was the hike to Morskie Oko in Poland. If you haven't been there yet, I highly recommend you to see it for yourself. It is not a very challenging hike, and though the descriptions say that the hike to the lake is rather dull, I don't agree. Yes, it is mostly a walk on concrete, but don't fall for anyone who says that there are no views before you reach the lake. What was different then than in the summer? I miss those vibrant green, blue, and pink colors that I have seen in the summer. When you have a beautiful color palette to work with, I think it is a little easier to capture the landscape. It is also due to the fact that since I'm more accustomed to shooting in the warmer seasons, setting the right exposure was a little bit tricky. I think I realized this at the edits. I overexposed many of my photos this time, but I could recover somehow a great many of them. I also experienced that the snow easily gets blown out and the rocks are getting too dark, resulting in images with too much contrast. But at the edits, I wanted to create a style with a pinch of impressionism in it. Truth to be told, I was also experimenting with texture overlaps, but it did not work for me. So I was mostly playing with colors to make the mist teal or bluish looking, and so on. With haze and mist, be it summer or winter, it is always challenging to bring the contrast back. The dehaze option doesn't always work as I want to, but when I'm in the flow of editing, it gets fun and time just flies by. It's striking how different a landscape can be in different seasons. It feels like being almost at a totally different place. Or at least I had that feeling all along on this winter trip of mine. For me, it is always important to try to capture the essence of that season and the place, and when you are there at that moment, it can be surprising, but the final picture is, I think, always influenced by my way of understanding my surroundings. So it's a cliche, but photography is about training your eyes, I think. So, with that, I'm still practicing and trying to improve my skills on my good old Lumix G7, and I'm astonished how well it can still work and what amazing results it can give me. But, truth to be told, I haven't really tried out higher level cameras, so maybe this is also why I feel like this. But I know I'm not the only one who still loves this camera. For these hikes, I usually don't bring too much gear with me because I don't have a professional camera backpack, so I have a limited space for my gear. And since I think one of the most important thing is that what you have should be available at any moment on the go, I worked with my camera and my Olympus 40 150mm lens, and that's all. This way I could capture distant peaks without the people in the frame. Then upon arrival I switched to the kit lens, which has a 14-42mm focal length, and then I switched back. That's all. I use my Andy Plus polarizer filter only for video. Maybe it could have been helpful for photography as well, but I wanted to work mostly with the shortest shutter speeds possible. I learned that in the summer, if you are in the move, I mean hiking up or down, short shutter speed is a lifesaver for your photographs. But what are your experiences in travel and landscape photography? I really want to hear about you, so please leave a comment if you can. I would be delighted to learn more about your creative journey. If you enjoyed this video so far, please give me a thumbs up. So overall, I'm so happy I got these opportunities to practice travel and landscape photography, and challenges are here to help us grow in our creative pursuits, so I rather like them. All of this being said, I wish you a beautiful week ahead. See you in my next video. Bye!